Hello everyone, it's quite a little bit later than I would have wanted it to be, but I did end up finally finishing Peter Pan. I, however, did not enjoy it very much, and I remember that I had actually started this a few years back and then left it off after like just for a few pages because it was just not my cup of tea, and it still isn't. That's not to say that this time over I didn't appreciate it at all. I did appreciate it a little bit, especially after about, I would say, half the book had gone. I would say from chapter 7, which is the home under the ground. You can see that. I would say I started appreciating it and enjoying it a little bit after that. And I started understanding how J.M. Barrie, he is, like I said in the last video, that C.S. Lewis is a storyteller, right? He's a storyteller. He has a story to tell and he weaves it in such a beautiful way that it stays with us forever, right? Of course, J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, it's actually one of the most English of like stories, as people say, something that has stuck with everyone for a very long time, and it's said that it's the most English of all invented legends. It's over here in the introduction as well. And also the story behind it is really beautiful. I'd like to begin with that because it's beautiful, like I said, and that is that J.M. Barrie, he was Scottish, right? And he, as was the way in those days, he was very much devoted to his mother. He loved her, and you can see the glimpses of that. Not the glimpses, actually, you can see the whole of that in this book, as well. And then it so happened that he was in a very unhappy marriage for quite a long time, and it turns out that a few of his earlier works were also kind of autobiographical in nature. These were Sentimental Tommy and Tommy and Griselle, and I believe fashioned in the nature of like understanding the understanding he developed from that unwanted or unhappy marriage of his. However, it says that basically he was not that much of a grown up, even when he had grown up, and he was more of a boyish in nature, right? And he also used to hang out with children a lot in Kensington Gardens, where it turns out that he has based the origin of Peter Pan from Kensington Gardens. So it also has a little bit of the write what you know sort of nature. This is just what he knows, basically. But the reason that I brought up C.S. Lewis and his art of storytelling is because in this story too, it's very much storytelling, and even more so than that, it's narration. So, but I didn't like this kind of narration that much. It was nice at times when you actually felt like you were in a Disney film and they're telling you that, look into the nursery, you see the night nights, you see the birds, you see the crying mother, you see this and that. So you do, and sometimes get drawn into a sort of very filmy sort of nature of the story. But at other times it was also clear to us that the narrator just wanted us to get confused, wanted the reader to be in a fix, with the use of like really weird words. Like almost the first half of the book, a lot of the descriptions and depictions were very weird and complex, and like very unnecessary. Like a lot of the time you just don't know what is being talked about. For instance, they were talking about, it was talked about like how Wendy's mother had a kiss that no one could ever take from her. Like it was just unclear what this meant. Did it mean a smile? Did it mean an affectionate word? Did it mean an actual kiss? What did it mean? It was just very weird and was just not enjoyable to me. I just had to just begrudgingly go through the book. And if it had not been for this challenge, I don't think I would have ever read this book. Even if I had forced myself to, I don't think I would have been able to. But I just really just went through it. That's not to say that the second half of it was, like I said, not enjoyable. I did enjoy like bits and bobs of it, especially a few like very interesting descriptions, which were very candid. For instance, in one part it said, so also wait, before that, the violence in this book I was not expecting. I had thought from like my childhood memories of watching Peter Pan or of watching Tinkerbell, I had thought that it would be like a very sweet, whimsical, magical fairy tale. It was whimsical and it was magical, so to speak, but it was definitely not sweet. And oh my god, was there so much violence in it? The violence isn't like um, elaborated in the actual like gorishness of the scene, but very many times like hear of like Hook killing off pirates, like Peter, or the boys killing off pirates, the littlest of the boys killing a pirate, and talking about it and speaking of it as if it's an accomplishment. And then also, near the end of the book, you like Peter has actually forgotten who Hook is, and he's saying, "I forget them after I kill them." So I just thought that was a very appalling and very weird coming from a children's book, since it is after all a children's book, right? Uh, right. However, what I was saying was that from the second half of the book, I did enjoy a little bit of the parts, especially, like I said, the parts that are more candid in nature and things which actually were quite observant. For instance, in one place, this is also sad, but most of the times the kids used to do like the kids who are the lost boys, the 5 or 6 boys um, other than the children, and other than Peter, they used to do make believe a lot of the times, right? Like make believe supper, make believe dinner, breakfast, whatever, make believe food, basically. And sometimes they used to have real food, but other times they used to do make believe. And Peter Pan, to him, make believe was the same as real. So even like when you're having make believe food, you have to feel like completely satisfied, and you have to pretend to be make believe to be completely satisfied in front of Peter Pan, or you get like a scolding, or it just doesn't turn out good for you, right? And so in one part it said that Peter Pan, he didn't like to eat a lot, right? He didn't like to like most children. So this is the observation. The observation was that most children like to stodge just for the sake of stodging. So basically that meant you just want to eat for the sake of eating, even though you've eaten your fill. You just want to eat to like satiate your cravings, satiate your like whatever your brain is or your heart is feeling, right, rather than your stomach. And that really resonated with me, because that's oftentimes what I think I feel, and I wish that I didn't feel like that, so that weight loss would be easier. But those sort of observations were really nice. And then I liked the new introduction of this sort of sentiment, this principle of good form, of having good form, and what that means, to be honorable and to always fight a fair fight. So I liked that part. And then also one thing that I liked about it was that it made me actually miss my mother, the way that they were talking about mothers. And yes, the description of mothers in places, it's really beautiful. Like it's actually really beautiful how they're telling about, like how I mean, Jane Barrie is telling about how mothers are so just selfless. Whether it was in the depiction of the Never Bird, taking care of her eggs, even when her nest had fallen into the water, she just like hopped on top of it, and then she just stayed there, even though it was so dangerous. Or whether it was the Darling's own mother, Mrs. Darling, and how she like lamented them and cried for them, even when they had been naughty children and left her. How she always left the window open for her, and how she always cared, still believed that they would come back, and how she was so selfless. The description of mothers and their selfless attitude was just really, that was the saving grace, I would say, for me. And it actually made me miss my own mom, who I don't live with, so it actually made me miss her a lot. That was nice. A few of the descriptions were nice, like I said, but a few of the descriptions were just downright frustrating, which is why I will give this book, I will give it 3 stars. And I was thinking whether to give it 3.5 stars, but no, no. Ironic though, because in a previous video I said that I usually give 4 or 5 stars, but 3 stars definitely because I did not like it. I mean, I just didn't see very much the purpose of it. I understand it could be like a kid's story, but then a kid's story with that much violence doesn't really make sense. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. And I would not read it again, and I would not recommend it to anyone else. I would have liked also to like give the title of this video, I read Peter Pan so you don't have to, because you don't have to. Please don't. Anyways, I do remember that the movies I quite seem to enjoy when I was little. So right now what I'm going to do is I have ordered some food and I'm going to eat that, and I'm going to watch Peter Pan's movie and see if I like that any better. If I remember, I remember Tinkerbell being nice, but I don't remember if Tinkerbell and Peter Pan are different movies. I think they must be different. Pretty much they must be different. But I'll just watch Peter Pan, the original movie, and see if I like it. Also, just for the sake of like talking to you about some new things, I started knitting. It's not very nice right now because I just started and I'm learning it, but this is a very nice pastime which I hope that I can develop further this skill, because I would love to do that. And then I would also like to talk about the last 2 books. So I know for sure since since reading Peter Pan has actually reversed the ending of the reading slump, so I feel like I just want to take a rest. But since we're not going to be taking a rest, we're going to be reading on. And we're going to hopefully be fighting off the reading slump and delving into uncharted waters. I have like several plans for the next year for like my book reading. So I'm going to be ending for sure on Anne of Green Gables. Let me try to get it down here. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to. I'm definitely going to be ending on Anne of Green Gables. For the second last book, I had 2 options in my mind. I just wanted to go for like shorter books so as to not get too tired. And I had a choice of The Prince and the Pauper, and then I had a choice of Secret Garden. Both of these I've read before, as well as Anne of Green Gables. But I remember not very much liking The Prince and the Pauper, but I'm pretty sure I didn't like it because I was very young at that time and I didn't appreciate it as much. However, I am 100% going to go with The Secret Garden because it's a repeat read for me for the past few years, as well as Anne of Green Gables. And I was thinking about, like what book to read next, I was thinking that another repeat read for me, which is not, so to speak, a favorite book of mine, but it's like by far, I believe, the book that I reread the most when I'm feeling sad and when I want to feel better. And I believe that's A Little Princess. I really like that book. I think that I should definitely consider whether it is actually my favorite or not, and I should actually do a whole video on that. Anyway, so these are the next 2 books that we're going to do, The Secret Garden and then Anne of Green Gables, so that we end on a banger and have a very like satisfactory finish. Okay, I am going to go ahead and watch Peter Pan the movie right now and see how I feel about it.